What is Invitation doing for tenants who can no longer pay the rent?
Well, that's a great question. Taking a step back, many Americans are hurting today in the COVID environment, and specifically in relation to our residents. We're working with those families and providing options and figuring out ways to help people impacted by COVID-19 today receive some help in terms of forbearance and making sure that we just work with these families to get them into a better place for the future.
And we've seen a huge number of tenants in apartments unable to pay their rents. How many requests for any kind of help have you gotten so far?
Well, our percentage so far has been relatively small. And we are, at ordinary course for us. We've done this across hurricanes in Texas and Florida, fires in Northern California. So we have a process to work with residents. And we're fortunate. We have a very strong platform with tremendous associates that care dearly for the well-being of our residents. And so we've established these programs over time that can help families in times of need. In terms of what the broader community is doing, I think it's probably a bit more difficult for the smaller landlord. One of the things that we've been working on internally and with our peers in the space is putting forth a proposal to Washington, to Treasury, and HUD that's really a simple program for short-term liquidity relief designed much like a long-term interest-free loan administered through the tax system. So that's something that we'll continue to work on for the benefit of all renters, the 47 million households in the U.S. that rent today.
Now, looking forward, you have close to 80,000 rental homes across 16 markets. Over the next few months, what percentage of that portfolio do you expect will be unable to pay their rent?
Well, that's a great question. And we have to be careful in terms of forward-looking guidance and things we say publicly. But through the month of April, we feel pretty confident in most of our residents' abilities to pay rent. We can't expect, obviously, we cannot see the future in terms of what the current situation will bring going forward. But I think we're in a very strong position as a business and industry to continue to provide for the wants and needs of residents. I think it's important that as landlords, we strike the right balance. We have to help folks, and we need to make sure that we're helping our residents in a time of need. And at the same time, we have to be careful. If we put too much pressure on landlords, we have obligations as well, such as credit facilities, property taxes, mello-roos that we pay back into the system. So it's a delicate balance. We'll do our part, and we need the government to step up and also help renters in this time of crisis.
Okay, and are you concerned at all about your portfolio losing value if home values should fall because of all this?
We're certainly watching the markets and trying to be smart about what's going to happen in and around asset values. I think today the fundamentals in U.S. housing are very strong. If you just look at the underlying supply and demand imbalances generally, we're in a lot better shape than we were in, say, 2007 or 8 when we went into the last crisis. So I don't think that we're in that type of an environment. I think more importantly, at least some of the limited information that we've seen through April, people are still transacting in marketplaces. We are seeing people buy homes. We're seeing home builders stay generally pretty busy through their April numbers. I think those are all positive indicators for us to follow in residential real estate. I do think that it's an important thing to remember that in times of crisis, residential real estate in general tend to be much more defensive position in nature for markets. And I would expect that where the supply and demand imbalances are today, it'll definitely speak to the strength of residential real estate.